two, two, two. Microphone test two.
My dear friends all, namaste. If you can hear me at the back, if you can all, if you're in the process of coming up to view the body and meet with the family, if I can ask that you can expedite that process and take a seat. If you can hear me, if you can all take a seat, we will commence a formal program in 2 or 3 minutes. You want me to get people to set it for you, or because I can do that?
Okay, okay. Okay.
May I ask again if you can please take a seat? If you're sitting, that is, obviously. My dear friends, family all, on behalf of the Satram family, on behalf of Pratesh, on behalf of Mahindra, on behalf of Akash and their families, and then obviously on behalf of their mom, I wish to extend a welcome, cordial welcome to all of you. We are delighted and pleased of your presence in support of the family at this difficult time. Satram Sr., his mom called him Balwant. Bal means strength, and Want means possessor, one who possessed strength. And indeed, he was a tower, a pillar of strength to all of us, an inspiration. And so as we commence today's program, may I ask that you kindly stand as we formally begin with prayers, seeking strength in divinity. You, O God, have given us the consciousness that we are souls. May we realize the objective of our existence, and may we connect with you, especially at this difficult time. Om Ya Atmara Balada Yasya Vishwa Upasate Prashisham Yasya Devaha Yasya Chayamritam Yasya Mrityuh Kasmai devaya visha vidhema. Thou art our mother, father, brother, and friend. Thou art the source of our learning and wealth. Thou art all in all, everything to us. And hence we surrender ourselves unto you. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva. Tvameva bandhuscha sakha tvameva. Tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. And finally we pray and we recognize that it is only by knowing you, O God, by realizing your presence, both within and around us. It's only by doing so would we be able to overcome the pains, the pangs of separation, of death. Om Vedahamitam Purusham Mahantam Aditya Tvameva viditvati mrityormeti nanyah panta vidyate ya anaya nanyah panta vidyate ya anaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you again. Namaste. You may be seated. I hand it over to our MC, Zaira.
Yeah. Namaste. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Today I stand here with profound grief as we try to honorably conduct a service befitting of Rupnarayan Satram, an esteemed gentleman, a son of the soil, a dedicated father, a loving husband, a proud grandfather. I do not know if we have words in us to pay homage or tributes to this great man. His lexicon extends beyond the vocabulary of all of us sitting in this room today. His brilliance, his knowledge of the law, his determination to be successful, they all were part of his admirable being. I had the pleasure of knowing Sat for over 40 years. If you're asking how old I am, I was just 12 when I met him. And his no-nonsense attitude, his honesty, his brutal honesty, I would say, and just the way he conducted himself made me know that for a lifetime I had a brother. Our families are not related by blood, but I never felt that way. Each time I'm in their presence, I'm a sister. I happened to get married to his best friend, Mukesh, and so over decades we built this relationship of trust and honesty and brotherhood. And today I'll try my best so that we honor him with the dignity he deserves. Before I begin, allow me to extend in whatever way I can my sincere sympathy to Auntie Sabrina, Mahendra, Pratesh, and Akash, and their families. No words we say here can express what you're feeling right now. But we just want you to know that we share your grief, we feel your pain, and in whatever way we will support you through this. And we pray that God gives you the strength to go forward from today. We have a short program this morning, just a couple of speakers, so we ask you to have patience with us as we do what is necessary here. And you just heard from Sri Ram, a son who grew up before Sat's eyes and who respected him so much that he traveled from a long way to be here to do his duties. Next person on our program this morning is his eldest brother, Singh, and we ask you to step up to the microphone, please.
Satram. I am Sat's eldest brother, and I say I am because even though some dynamics may have changed, it doesn't alter the fact that we are brothers. And if at any point in time in my life I begin to lose my memory and I forget everyone around us, including my own name, he will still be my brother. For many of us, we are shocked. Some of us are still trying to process this. But I know him so well that if he had the power to choose to go this way, this is what he would have wanted. And let us respect his wishes. I called him as one of his closest friends from New York when he passed away. And the closest friend was from our village back home. Well, here, actually. And so the friend said, "Are you sure?" And I paused. I didn't know how to answer that. To which he said, "I spoke with Balwan 2 days ago." And so the friend asked me to read a message, the sentiment of which I also share. And the friend said, "We shared many philosophical views and values. The wealth we acquire in this world is not measured by the money we have, but by the friendships we cultivate and the lives we touched. No amount of accolades can truly describe the humility, the strength, the courage, kindness, care, and love that Balwant had. He was an extraordinary human being, a person I enjoyed having fellowship with. Had I not rubbed shoulders with him in this lifetime, I would have been a lesser person. He would always be missed. And I hope that we would continue to rally behind this family, especially to Sabrina and the grandchildren, to help them understand and cope with his passing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brother Singh. It is said that a man is not dead until his name is not spoken anymore. And from what our brother shared with us, we know that we will always be talking about Sat. We know that his friends will always speak of him in those glowing tributes. And now I call upon his daughter-in-law, Dr. Kavita Satram, to say a few words.
Morning and Satram to all. Daddy Satram was beyond a father-in-law to me. In fact, he played many roles in my life, that of a father, mentor, guru. My late mother would often tell me stories of how he would walk us home after satsang or balvikas as children. ensuring we were safe. She proudly would say he was the only person not afraid to stand up to anyone, including my own father. He always stood for what was right, even if he was standing alone. Even though she was older than him, whenever she was in doubt, he would be the only person she sought advice from. My personal memories, however, started when I was a teenager attending Campbellville High Center. Uncle Sat, as I called him before, taught me and the youngsters, many of them here today, almost everything we knew of spirituality. He not only expounded the teachings of Sri Satya Sai Baba, but he even taught us how to construct a speech, how to do public speaking. He taught us Hindi, yoga, the art of Ayurvedic medicine. He would gather all of us and take us on his project management courses around the country, from Essequibo to Bushlot. With these very actions, he would have molded us into young adults with greater knowledge, morals, and character. Those of you who went on training programs across the country with him would remember how after every session he would teach us to sing Pyare Nandalal Dadashana Dijo. Every task he undertook was infused with skill, perfection, sincerity, and love, leaving an indelible impact on our lives. When I did my first research at the University of Guyana, it was he who helped me to decide on what to do. And I'm sure, to no one's surprise today, he chose the topic, the effects of methi and garlic on high cholesterol. Needless to say, the results were positive. My relationship with him as a father-in-law came years after that. But even as a father-in-law, he was more of a father to me and my sister-in-law, Shalon. He knew when to intervene and when to leave us to figure out our problems. He knew when to be a silent observer and when to be a voice of reason. In January 2022, when I was about to experience loss of this magnitude for the very first time with my mother, he was the one that was there to guide me. I remember being given a second DNR form to sign for her. It was the hardest decision of my life, and I couldn't make it. It was him that I called from the hospital, and he said, "Kavi, let your mother go. Her journey is finished. Baba is ready for her. She wants to go, and you have to let her go." Mommy Sabrina, Pratesh, Mahendra, Star, and his siblings, I know your pain is immeasurable. You have lost your backbone and your constant guiding light. But you must, in your darkest hours, remember from the Bhagavad Gita, for the soul, there is never birth nor death, nor having once been, does he ever cease to be. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, undying, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. By remembering and practicing what he stood for, he will continue to live on in each one of you. He has given us blessings to last a lifetime. It is our duty now to pass down his beliefs and his lessons to his grandchildren. To my children, Dia and Siddharth, and my nieces Ananya and Sahana, I want you to always remember Aja's last days on this earth were devoted entirely to you. He planted hundreds of trees to ensure you enjoy healthy lives with well-nurtured minds. Your Aja will forever love and bless you. Daddy, the manner in which you transition from this world is proof that you have Baba's utmost blessings and grace. You discarded this body and departed this world, removed from all material things and worldly luxuries, surrounded by just the 5 elements of life, the desire of every living sage and yogi. As difficult as it is, I again understand that your journey with us is finished, and we too now have to let you go. We will continue to love and cherish your memories. May Baba continue to bless and guide your Atma as you travel towards him. Saira.
Thank you, Kavita. As I gather my breath from that. Many of you may have heard the term Sat, Chit, and Nanda, where Sat is truth, absolute being of existence, enduring and undying. Chit is consciousness and understanding, comprehension, and bliss is a state of pure happiness. They said only few people in this world will ever get to achieve that nirvana. And as Kavi stated to us, her father-in-law did. He relinquished all the material things of this world and had a debt that we all dream of. So as we grieve, we must also be grateful to God for the mercies he has bestowed on him. We'll now ask Ray to say a few words. Ray is the youngest brother of this family.
Thank you, Zara. Namaste, everyone. Good morning. Sairam. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ray, and I want to say a few words about my brother and the impact he had on us. I'd like to share how my brother has impacted my life. When our parents left Guyana for the U.S., I relocated to Georgetown to reside with him and our Bauji. During this time, he mentored me, and without his encouragement and influence, I would not have the career path I currently have. He also mentored many of my friends, all of whom have great respect for him, and have maintained a lifelong relationship with him. Some of them are here today to say farewell. I was very fortunate to have him in my life, and I'm very proud of him for making a significant impact on so many. I find comfort that at the time of his passing, he was living in harmony with nature. He was a firm believer in living in harmony with nature. In closing, I like to quote Abraham Lincoln, "It's not the years in your life that count, it's a life in your years." Again, it's not the years in your life that count, it is a life in your years. Our brother has made significant contribution during his lifetime, and we're extremely proud of him. May he rest in peace, and may God give us all the strength to carry on without him.
Thank you, Ray. There's a saying that a teacher teaches a teacher. So Uncle Sat taught Ray, and Ray taught us. When Ray came to live with us, he taught me and my brother accounting. And from those teachings and those exams we took, we were both making a living. So Uncle Sat transcended beyond the rooms he taught in to the people he taught and the people those people taught. We will now like to call upon Brother Ramesh from the Sai Baba organization to... Brother Ramesh is not here. So we will have the eulogy done by Pratesh, his eldest son now.
Sairam, Namaskar, and good morning. Our dear father Rupnarayan Satram was born on the 15th of September 1953 at Philippi Farm, Quarantine, Bordeaux. He was the second of 9 children, and like most of the time, he was born into poverty. The family did not enjoy material comforts, but he spoke fondly of his childhood. He never ever saw or thought of poverty as an affliction, but as a teacher. It was an experience from which lasting life lessons were to be learned. His father, my Aja, was an unlettered man, but from my own interactions with him, he was possessed of a discerning intellect, and above all, he was a man of principle. Daddy was proud of his heritage and roots. He maintained connections with his villagers and with people in general. He was an enlightened human being. His perspectives on life, on human interaction and relationships, and on the human condition were not taught to him. His perspectives on these matters could not have been garnered from his environment either. It came from an awakened intellect and a deeper inner consciousness, which he may have even cultivated in a previous life. People who are born into abject poverty yearn for material possessions, but not him. He valued the more meaningful things in life: simplicity, knowledge, duty, worship, humility, and so on. And these are not principles which he conveniently and occasionally embraced. It formed the very core of his character and were immutable elements of his mindset. His greatest worldly passion, I believe, was for teaching. He taught at the primary school level from 1971 to 1977. He connected with students in amazing ways, and he was, by any measure, the best teacher I've ever known. And that is a sentiment that has been expressed by hundreds. His classroom delivery was superb and second to none. And that is not my own biased or emotional position. In 1987, he was made a Fellow of the Society of Business Teachers of the United Kingdom. And prior to that, he completed his Bachelor of Social Sciences in Political Science in the year 1981, and a graduate diploma in Development Economics in 1986. His passion for education explains why he converted everyone into his student, always trying to impart something to everyone he engaged, whether he knew you or not. His inner urge to impart knowledge made him a lifelong student. He absorbed vast amounts of learning for the sole purpose of disseminating it. People, including myself, mistakenly thought that he had encyclopedic learning which he acquired from regular studies and through rote. I always thought that someday I would, by constant study, be able to attain and exhibit a similar level of wisdom, but that never happened. I realized that such enlightenment, came from a deeper spiritual consciousness which he was able to awaken. He was able to offer an enlightened opinion on every issue. This is why my brothers and I never did anything without soliciting his advice. As we grew older, we became more dependent on him. And this is what we will miss the most, his guidance. As a father, he knew, not felt or believed, he knew that our parents are our first teachers. He made every sacrifice to fulfill his parental duties. He taught us to pray and ensured that growing up we prayed together. The power of the mind is something which he impressed upon us. You are what you think, was his opinion. When we recited the Gayatri Mantra, he taught us to visualize that the entire universe and all forces within it exist for our benefit. And that has stuck with us to this day. He taught us our first scriptural verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Yada Yada Hi Dharamasya. Among the first bhajan he taught us was Prema Mudita Manasikaho Rama Rama Ram. Repeat the name of Ram with love. This, he said to us, was the ultimate source of strength. Even the most desolate of men will never be stripped of the solace and protection found in repeating the sweet name of Ram. God will never leave us without recourse. Refuge can always be found in his name. He taught us our first poem, our first film song, Chalo Dildar Chalo, our first verse from the Bible, from the sweat of thy brow thou shalt eat bread. He taught us Hindi, yoga, music, etc. He loved music and had an excellent singing voice. He had a bike, a carrier bike that he used to take us around with. He always warned us not to let false pride get in the way of doing what is right and beneficial. A lack of resources should never deter us from attaining skills. And he would cite a verse from the Holy Quran, acquire knowledge from the cradle to the grave. He never, ever abdicated his duties. When he felt that we were not being properly instructed in school, he took us out of school and took on the task himself at the expense of his own personal desires and dreams. He was never swayed by the opinions of others on the correctness of his decisions, which were always born out of selfless love and a keen sense of duty. Daddy was a multifaceted man, a man with varied interests, and a man of seeming contradictions. He was a disciplinarian, but accepted that mischief and misbehavior were natural to children. He was open to ideas, but yet unwavering in his convictions. He was attentive, but yet difficult to persuade. He was simple, but yet sophisticated. We live in a world of opposites and contradictions. Happiness and sadness, birth and death, etc. We begin life which must end before it starts again. These various states of being exist between each other until the cycle of birth and death comes to end. Grief is a point between happiness and happiness. Death is a point between birth and birth. Our family takes comfort in what Sai Baba has said, and I quote, "It is not possible for anyone to hold on to the physical body forever. It remains so long as it is destined to be. It will perish at its predestined time. Nobody has any control over death. It is decided at the time of birth itself. The date of departure is imperceptibly written on the body when it comes to the world." And again he said, "No one is competent to determine where a certain thing should take place. Life may end in a tongue, in water, or in a forest. Each one's life will end in the place, the manner, and the time prescribed for him. This is inescapable. This is according to the operation of nature's law, based on the pairs of opposites in life. There is a continual conflict between these opposites: pleasure and pain, birth and death, etc. Our father lived by the principle that karma, or the consequences of our action, should be of no concern to us once our actions are right. Dharma is more important, he taught. If your dharma is right, then your karma will be right. And so he always did what needed to be done without regard for failure. He was always confident that a positive outcome will follow once you do the right thing. This explains why he was so courageous and determined. It explains why he always gave it his all. When we were little, he made it a point to teach us chapter 6, verse 5 of the Bhagavad Gita. We were too young to fully appreciate the true depth of that verse. He made us repeat it over and over. Let a man not debase himself by his own self, for he is himself his enemy, himself his friend. I reflected on this verse over the past few days and realized that it summarizes the way he lived his life. You're the architect of your own destiny. The responsibility is yours. If you fail, it is on you. If you succeed, you must succeed by your own efforts. Great sacrifice is required to achieve anything that is worthwhile. Success cannot be handed to you. Daddy became a lawyer after tremendous struggles and adversities. He started in 1984, finished the first year at the University of Guyana, but could not proceed to the University of the West Indies. He did not have the money and could not secure a scholarship. He continued about 10 years later in 1993, when the full program was being offered at the University of Guyana. In his first year at the Hugh Wooding Law School, he suffered an accident which nearly killed him. He lost a year and had to take a further year leave of absence. Upon graduation, he returned and started his own practice, determined to succeed on his own strength. Like everything else he did, he practiced law with courage and vigor. His close relatives and friends outside of the legal profession do not appreciate, or would not appreciate, how quickly he rose to the top of the profession and distinguished himself in the practice of law. He was a tireless fighter for his clients. He had a fascinating mind and was known for raising fine and interesting points of law. We were able to together make the largest number of appearances before the CCJ, the final appellate court in the Caribbean region. At the time he decided to leave the profession and establish his farm, he did not have a close rival. He did not leave the law because he failed. He left law after he succeeded. He left us with one of the most successful law firms in the country. But that shining light within him led him to a different path. Again, he made people think that he was doing it for himself, but that was not entirely the case. He insisted that his grandchildren develop a connection with the land, that they have fresh food and fruits to eat. He was convinced that in time every other person will eventually have a doctorate degree, but there will be no fresh food for them to eat or pure air for them to breathe. He was happy on his farm. He spoke to his grandchildren every single day and was happy at every thought of them. He lived on the farm in very primitive conditions, but he never experienced or felt adversity. To the outsider, what he was doing seemed difficult and perhaps unnecessary, but to him it was most certainly not. We are bound to continue what he started. It would have been unfair for him to shoulder us any further. We realize that it is foolish to question his instincts. Some years ago, he bought what was seen as an unusable plot of land in Cumming Street for just 1.5 million Guyana dollars. The property was on the open market, and more than half of the country could have afforded to buy it. He and our mother decided that the energy was right. We were able to conduct business, practice law, and live at that location. It benefited the family in unbelievable ways. He bought farmland on the East Bank of Demerara. We told him that it was not the best use of his money. And his response to us was that cheap does become dear. He lived to see that become a reality. He has left us with so much materially and spiritually, and he has started the only other thing we need, that is the farm. He died knowing that he equipped us for life, knowing that his most compassionate, loving, and caring wife will be happy in his absence. He was extremely fond of his wife and was doubly happy when he realized that his granddaughter Sahana was exactly like her. It amused him to see how much they were alike. He showered all his grandchildren with love. They were always, always uppermost in his mind. Continue your journey, Daddy. Another fruitful and fulfilling life awaits you. Thank you.
A eulogy deserving of a father who did all he could to guide and mold 3 sons, all of them attorneys today. When Sat decided he was going to homeschool the boys, we were all doubtful, but Sat never was. He knew what he was capable of doing, and these boys are proud testimony of what their father knew, what he taught, how he guided them, and the way he kept them together no matter the adversities. It is said that the greatest gift a father can give to his children or his sons is love and respect to their mother. And Sabrina was loved. She was respected. She was honored by her husband. She was the strength with which all of them stood. When Prate spoke of you are what you read or you're what you think, I remember a story. Sat came to visit me one day. I was in the hospital. And next to my hospital bed on the nightstand, I had a book, a Mills and Boone, a romance novel. he got livid. He took the book, threw it in the trash, and he walked out the room saying, "You're what you read." I was sad, and I thought he wouldn't return. But the next day, as I was about to leave the hospital, I went down to pay the bill. And the lady in the reception room said to me, "Your bill is paid." I asked, "By whom?" She said, "Your brother." I thought, I only have one brother, Zakir. He was not there, and if he had come to pay the bill, he would visit me. Sat paid the bill. That was the brother who did that good deed. When I came home, I asked him why. And he said to me, if Sabrina needed help, Mukesh would do the same. And it is my duty. Sat has left behind many beautiful memories, inspiration, and hope for all of us. And with that, I would ask another person who was greatly impacted in their life by Sat, Karen, to share with us a bhajan.
Satram to all. Before I sing my bhajan, on behalf of myself, my wife, my two brothers, my father, our Guruji Jivan Chowti, who couldn't make it, and other devotees from New York, Sai devotees, also Auntie Sus from Canada and other Sai devotees in Canada. We'd like to give our sympathy to Auntie Sabrina, Pratish, Mahindra, and the rest of the family. There's so much I could say about Sat, but I don't know where to start. But I will sing, because he loved bhajans. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunj Vihari,
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 Jai Gopi Janvallabha,
Jai Gopi Janvallabha,
Jai Girivardhari, Jai Girivardhari,
Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunj Vihari,
Yashodanandan Braj Jan Ranjan, Yashodanandan Braj Jan Ranjan, Yashodanandan Braj Jan Ranjan, Yashodanandan Braj Jan Ranjan, Yashodanandan ब्रज जन रंजन यशोधनंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीर पर चारी जमुना तीर पर चारी जय कुंज विहारी जय कुंज विहारी
जय राधा माधव जय कुंज विहारी हरे राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा
Radhikaran. We are running a little short of time, so we would like to call upon Justice Sandel, a classmate and colleague of the legal fraternity, to say a few words.
Sat recognized very early on that I did not have a voice for singing. As a result of that, when we studied together approximately 25 years ago, there were a group of 4 of us. It was myself, Sat, Moin Makdoum Jr., and Narendra Singh. From the time we entered Wooding Law School, we were one to the time of graduation. Our apartment, that is where myself and Moin Jr. resided, was the focal point of studies. Inevitably, beginning perhaps with an occasional day in the week, but as it got closer to the exams, the frequency increased. We became extremely close. And Sat would ask me, Sandel, before you leave the apartment every day, what are the words that you think or your words that you express? And as a student, you would all recognize that those words, oh heavens, I'm late again, it's theater class. So Sat said, you don't ever leave your apartment until you say 2 prayers. And he insisted that I learn them, and he wrote them on a paper. And for 25 years, I've said my tribute to my brother in this way. And it went like this. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kurume Deva Sarva Kadrishu Sarvadam Om Karam Bindu Samyuktam Nityam Dayanti Yoginaha Kamaram Moksharam Shaiva Om Karaya Namo Namaha. Sat was the perfectionist. We had the Diwali concert at the Wooding Law School. I was asked to do the Gayatri Manch, and at the conclusion, I thought I had done it fabulously well. There were no complaints from above, but Sat said no, the pronunciations were all wrong. So after that, he introduced me to Sai Baba 25 years ago, to the teachings of Sai Baba, and he took me to Shiratri night, to the temple, to the ashrams, and that has been the past since then of this remarkable human being that we honor on today's date. It is said, and it has been written, that in this journey of life, we will pass this way but once. Like each and every one of you here today, I have had the rare privilege to share this journey, in part, with a remarkable and a singularly extraordinary human being. To borrow the words of our poet, Mr. Ian MacDonald, that human being being my friend who became my brother, Rupnarayan Satram. Lesser mortals tread the beaten path. They walk in the valley, fearful of the challenges posed by the unknown. Sat chose to climb the mountains to reach his destination within the shortest period of time. The words faith, the words hope, the word courage, in the comfort of a congregation, of a gathering and an assembly of persons, is vastly different to when a man steps out alone and with the mantle of responsibility of those around him whom he loves and cherishes the most. He journeys from Guyana to a different land, his possessions being the love of those most dear to him, the courage, the dedication, the faith to overcome the challenges that must be encountered, the resolute faith that the divine, in whatever form we recognize and worship in, will be present to aid and guide us to overcome. Every student who leaves these shores to attend Wooding Law School does so with the hope of returning with a legal education certificate. Sat went to Trinidad accompanied by Sabrina and their three boys, Pratish, Mahendra, and Visal. In Trinidad, 1997, 98, 99, whilst dedicating time to his studies, in addition to being a husband and a father, he became the teacher par excellence and the guru to his three sons, whilst other students studied to return home with that certificate. He took on the mantle of responsibility with Sabrina to shape and mold the lives of these three boys who returned home as men, each a brilliant, competent, fearless advocate at the bar. And with them, over time, he founded the firm of Satram and Satram, attorneys at law, which can hold its own anywhere in the Caribbean or further afield, as members of that firm have gone to London to argue before the Court of Arbitration. That is the nature of the young men and the energies of the individual we honor on today's date. We do not mourn. Within a very short period of time, a small window, Sat was before our apex court, the Caribbean Court of Justice, where his independence of thought, his fearlessness, the novel arguments articulated by him in a number of landmark decisions, witnessed an immeasurable contribution to the jurisprudence of the Commonwealth, Caribbean, and further afield, as these cases now litter the law reports across the region. in a very short time span. Sat at that juncture, looked around, and said enough. He recognized, as others have, that the chambers of Satram and Satram, attorneys at law, were in competent, capable hands. Boys had become men. The achievements of Pratesh, Mahendra, and Visal speak for themselves. Safe to say, they are their parents' sons, they are their father's sons. Throughout his life, Sat has attempted at every juncture to live in concord with the teachings of the divine, and I have said to you, he ensured I was firmly on that path that left no uncertainty. I cannot stand before you to communicate his love of Baba. Safe to say, he made the journey to India with Sabrina to visit Baba, to see the ashram after qualifying. It was of that monumental importance and significance to him. Satram and Sabrina went to Trinidad with 3 children with whom they were entrusted with a responsibility to care and nurture. I would like to tell you they ended up with 5, myself and Moin. In the study groups, on each occasion, Satram recognized quite early that we were sustaining ourselves on bread, and we could not manage. As a result of that, Sabrina packed a hamper that Sat had to bring every day. Being Guyanese, you would recognize we held a meeting without Sat. And rather than studying 1 day per week, we amended it to 5 days per week. And Sat came with the hamper 5 days per week. We apologize for this additional burden that we imposed on them, but without them, we would not be here. In addition to that, we thought that it was appropriate to try to get some puppies, and our landlord was not impressed. Sat, being Sat, said, I'll take care of the puppies in addition to you all as well. And that was the nature of the human being that I speak of on today's date. Sat and I have spoken every day to the date before his passing for an hour every day. In the course of our conversations, we covered everything under the sun, from agriculture, crops and cattle and rice, and he told me of these papers he wrote. I told him of a paper I had found produced in Texas. In the course of our conversations, he made reference to the teachings of Baba. And he said, Sandal, the distinction may be, Baba embraces a religion of love. He does not ask anyone to change their faith. He said every member of society, every human being, is free to embrace and pursue that path that comforts them the most. His reasoning and rationale was this: all roads lead to the same destination. Every religious text, he said, be it the Quran, the Talmud, the Gita, or the Bible, he said the same author, different pen names. That was the free thinker that we honor on today's date. What does charity mean from the perspective of this human being? Charity, we are told, and this is 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 13, and I quote, and now abideth it faith, hope, and charity, these 3, but the greatest of these is charity. When we returned to Guyana, Sat called frequently, and he said, if you're available at 6 tomorrow, Seaford Street. Sat and Sabrina did not lose momentum when they returned to Guyana. And we would get the calls, and we would go to Seaford. And from Seaford Street, we headed to Border Market. Every day we got those calls. Sat and Sabrina prepared meals for 100 persons. And why was 6 o'clock important? Because he said after 6 o'clock, they dispersed. They would go to make their way to different places to find food to sustain them throughout the day. And that is what Sat taught us 25 years ago. We went to Regent Street, to Guyana Stores, to Parade Ground. They showed us how to feed 100 persons using limited resources, and we each were given the honor and opportunity to do this on different occasions. 20 years later, I served as part of an organization that included the Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. Scotland, the former Speaker, and one Mr. Inderjeet Bihari, who has now ascended to the great beyond. And as part of that organization, there was a feeding program, and there was a limited budget. And using everything that Sat and Sabrina had taught us, we were able to get out more meals to more persons using less resources, based only on what I observed and learned from Sat and Sabrina at work. Each of us present here today, we have a story to tell of the positive impact of this remarkable soul that we gather to honor. After successfully establishing that firm, Sat said, "The boys will take over. I am going to farming." His explanation, and I heard it in part from Pratish, and forgive me for repeating, was that his grandchildren, Daya, Anya, Sahana, and Siddharth, must have organic fruits and vegetables available to them. I told you Sat lived his life in concord with the teachings of the divine. By design, by accident, or by omission, did he transition from householder to sannyas, the renunciate? We don't know, but that is in effect what happened. Pratesh told you what he left and what he used, took up as his abode and dwellings. Material possessions have never appealed to Sat at any stage of his life. He simply went back to the land with the same enthusiasm he practiced law. This is the nature of the human being we honor today. He gave his life in service to those around him, both immediate, those distant. He lived every step of his journey in concord with the teachings of the divine. What was his greatest accomplishment? If you were to ask him, his explanation is, it was to persuade his soulmate, Sabrina, the most wonderful human being he has ever known, to agree to marry him. Knowing Sat, that still has me baffled, because you would know, not the easiest man at times, but that he considered his greatest achievement. What the accomplishment that they collectively attained. Sat had no hesitation in this regard. That was to be blessed as parents and grandchildren with sons and daughters, not daughters-in-law, but sons and daughters and grandchildren, possessed of the attributes that embodies the qualities of the parents and this human being that we honor, to produce strong, courageous leaders and citizens for generations to come. On behalf of the members of my family, on behalf of our class, on behalf of my colleagues in the judiciary, I extend to the family, to the sons, to Sabrina, to the relatives, our heartfelt condolences with much love. Om Sai Ram.
The Justice shared with us a friendship that was deep and lasting, and memories that you only gather with decades of knowing someone. Most of us at our age in this time, we don't have the time to cultivate those relationships that Sat built. Not with each of us gathered here has some depth of gratitude to him. And that's why we're all here this morning, to pay our last tributes and final respects to him. And with that, I'll call upon Ramesh from the Sai Baba organization to say a few words. Brother Ramesh.
अनेक जन्म संप्राप्त कर्म बंधा विदाहिनी आत्मज्ञान प्रदानेन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. I offer my humble salutations to the lotus feet of my Guru, my Master, Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, who, on granting us awareness of our own divine reality, at the same time burns away the bondage created by all our past accumulated actions in previous lives. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters all, my name is Ramesh Prasad, and I'm a member of the Sri Satya Sai Baba Organization of Guyana. Sat was my friend and mentor. I first became acquainted with Sat somewhere around 1976, when the Sri Satya Sai Baba Organization was in a very fledgling state, consisting of a handful of persons performing worship to Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Since then, the organization has grown and expanded to Borbis, to Essequibo, and all over Demerara. And my friendship with Sat also grew at the same time. Sometime during the 90s, the face of the organization in Guyana changed, and Brother Sat was involved in developing programs and helping the leaders of the organization to structure the organization for the future. He held no position in the organization in those early days, but his heart and soul was in what he was doing, because he was a genuine devotee of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba. He conducted training programs for the leaders. He worked with the young adults and the little children, guiding them, tutoring them, and helping them to understand Bhagwan's teachings and to understand life in general. He was guided by an Upanishadic theory which says that what comes will never go. And what is it that comes? Wisdom or knowledge. Once we learn something, once we gain a knowledge of something, it never goes. It remains with us, and it guides our future actions. And the second thing is that when it goes, it never comes back. And that is ignorance. When it goes, it will not return, because it is taken over by knowledge. And so Sat was a believer in education. He was a believer of acquiring knowledge. And this is what he imparted to all the youths and the young children in the Sai organization. Many of those youths are here today. Some of them have even come from North America and Canada just to pay their final respects to him out of love and appreciation for Sat. I remember Sat telling me, he said, there's not much you have to do. All you have to do is love them, and they will take up everything that you teach them.
He had a genuine love for the children and the young adults in the SAI organization, and he worked with them a lot. He has earned all of their respect, their admiration. And whatever they have achieved, many of them have achieved today, is because of his inspiration and because of his tutoring. And I'm sure they will all remember that for the rest of their lives. One of the things that Sat always believing, and he expressed this in everything that he did, is that never seek reward for anything that you do. Never seek praise, never seek name or fame. And even in his professional life, I never saw him doing that as well. In his spiritual life, he lived by that thing. He never projected himself in the SAI organization as somebody in authority or somebody who knows everything, or despite of the fact that he may have known everything. He was always in the background. And because of that principle, because of that philosophy that he lived by, I think he has earned the blessings of Sri Lord Krishna, who told us in the Bhagavad Gita, whatever action you do in this world, do it without thought or concern of reward. And that was Sat's philosophy in life. Today, as we say, pay our final respects to him and say goodbye, we want to thank Sabrina and Pradesh and Mahindra and Vishal and the rest of his family for sharing Sat with us. Our lives are much richer. We will miss him dearly, but they have lost him forever. It is my prayer that Bhagwan Sri Sathya Sai Baba will take his soul to his lotus feet. And it is our prayer that Bhagwan's grace, blessings, guidance, and protection will reign upon this family. Thank you, and Saira.
Thank you, Brother Ramesh. Just two announcements that we have to make before we wrap up with our final speaker. If you are not going to the crematorium, lunch is prepared at the home and you are invited to join us for lunch. And then this evening we'll be having a Hawan right here at the home at 6 p.m. to perform the final closing of this week of wake and funeral and everything. So we will wrap up this evening at 6 p.m. and you're all invited back to the home. I'll now call on Mukesh to give us the final tribute to our brother Sat.
My humble pranams at the lotus feet of Bhagwan. Respected Panditji, Justice, loving family members, mothers, fathers, brothers and sisters and friends, Sairam, Sitaram, Assalamu alaikum, good evening or good afternoon. I am Mukesh, and like each of you, we are all shocked and overwhelmed with grief to learn of the death of our brother Sat. On behalf of all the members of the Campbellville Sai Center, especially the foreigners, please do accept their love and prayers. Age and grief are their default. Sister Sabrina, your pain is our pain. Your loss was the chosen soul by our Master. Seek not an answer, why him? But have faith and be comforted. For a most merciful Father shall grant you inner peace. It's only in the depths of silence that the voice of God can be heard. Like that, so many of us, with doubt, fear, and the slightest of courage, left our little villages our humble homes, gave up the simple comforts and warm hugs of our family to settle in the city, to seek a better life, a better education. We had nothing but hope, and the fear that failure would never be our defeat drove us like determined warriors. What did we find? What was our gain? Whatever we have accomplished, for me, the best gift is meeting each of us. All this here, a united family. Our accomplishments have washed away our wants. And like that, what was left? Need. The longing for peace and silence. God's language was all he wanted. I came to know Sat in 1979 through G1, his brother, younger brother. We were both students at GTI. Sat already had his bachelor's in political science and could not find a job. Even then, if you knew him, he would never trade his soul, his deep values, his honesty, his humility, his siding for the poor, his no-nonsense stand for fairness. His love for people was infectious, was always pure, so selfless and dear, especially his grandchildren and daughters-in-law. Since he was blessed with the best of sons, longing for a daughter, a girl was such a strong desire that at one time he wanted to adopt my daughter. Luckily, the perfect match, the gem of his life, the last loving conversation and goodnight bye said and remembered, his every breath and thought, Sabrina, his queen, hand in hand from the drains, the real depths of poverty, cemented a perfect relationship and enjoyed a wonderful life. Your deep grief, my sister, is just a reflection of your immense love. To this family, a truly patriarchal setting, the pyramid structure, where Sat was the head, the king, not for only sharing, but also for receiving respect, love, advice, care, and leadership. To the children, let us honor the relentless pyramid structure that was handed to us by our culture, that it was shaken by his loss, but with God's grace and strength, will stand forever, knitted as a family, glued by pure love. Pratish, Mano, Akash. In common parlance, life is a game, a race, a relay. And we are parents, we the parents, are just handing off the baton. You shall hold with confidence all that his hard work has earned, his company, his wealth, etc. But know this, my sons, humility, love, reverence, compassion, forbearance, sacrifice, friendliness, charitable, soft-spoken, self-control, and always giving jokes are the hallmark qualities that reveal the best of your father. When it's your turn to pass again the baton, Give not these in short, but add a smile, and your praises will multiply. Sat, without a doubt, lived a glorious life. O friends like Sat, let us live our lives not artificially, but heartificially. Our heart and soul for God, our daily life a true example, a message, for each one of us is a messenger, sent from God to return with a simple message, to love all. Please, it's your honor, it's your right to treasure your personal messenger, your personal revelation, your revered book. My dearest one, let us be attentive and project the common universal message of divine love. Love is selfless. Sat portrayed that. Self is loveless. Baba said that. Today, if he's not responding, whether you see that as self or the hovering of his soul, no response. We must make an affirmative effort to not only be a good Hindu, a good Muslim, a good Christian, but a good human being, a Sat. We are not a counted family by blood, or by friends, or by events, but truly all are brothers and sisters. As the Bible says, brotherhood of man and fatherhood of God. The entire human race with one single Father, God. The Upanishads proclaim, who is your family? Vasudeva Kutumbakam. The entire world is one family. As Rumi, the Persian philosopher, puts it, you're not only a drop in the ocean, but you're the ocean in a drop. You're not only God's child, but you are Prema Swarupa, embodiments of love. The Quran says, it is He, Allah, who forms you in the wombs however He wills. What is it He forms as He wills? And gave all to each, that each received all, yet all remains one, and one remains all. That is what I am. That is what you are. And that is what He is. The one who loves God is the messenger of God. The one whom God loves is the Son of God. The one who understands the principle of life, awareness, enlightenment, becomes one with God. We all daily strive for the two most important things in all life. And what are they? Wealth and relationships. Be it a good son, a father, a grandfather, a brother, a sister, an uncle, a friend, etc. My dearest one, the only wealth that will save you from here on, this soul, is the wealth you gave away. What is that wealth? Charity. Helping the poor. The only relationship that will be wings to this soul is the one we sometimes pay the least attention to, our dharma, our innate divine duty to God. God, we started this with Twameva Mata, Chapita, and you know the rest. If this soul can say, God, you are my mother, and you truly are my father. You alone are my relative and my friend. You truly are my knowledge, and you alone my wealth. You are everything to me, O Lord of Lords. Brothers and sisters, that is just a dress of life. The body is an encasement, a garb that we drop. Sat will live on, daily honored by the exemplary life of his children and grandchildren and us all. His spirit, his soul will forever be blessed and reside with Baba. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukesh. And it was those philosophical musings that kept Mukesh and Sat tied together. Sometimes I myself struggle to figure out what they're talking about. But thank you for paying tribute to your brother. We've come to the end of our program today, and I will be handing you off to our pandit for the rest of the program, the religious duties that need to be performed before we move on to the cremation stage. Our pandit is Satya Prakash, and with humble pranams, we would like to hand this off to him. Before I go, I would leave you with one thing. It is said that everyone must leave something behind when he dies. A child, a book, a garden, or a memory. Something that tells the world you were here. Our brother Rupnarayan Satram is leaving a lot behind. He's leaving a farm planted with fruit trees. He's leaving 3 gentlemen as sons, a wife with pleasant memories, and grandchildren who will hear stories of him for the rest of their lives. I would also like to take this opportunity to extend, on behalf of all of the families that Mukesh spoke about, our deepest sympathies to Jiwan, Singh, Ray, Lacho, Babe, and Auntie Chando. We know that as we grieve, you grieve too. Sat was your North Star. And I hope you find the strength to say goodbye to him. One of the central tenets of Hindu philosophy is the distinction between body and soul. Hinduism teaches us that the body is a vessel for an immortal soul. When a person's died, the physical body perishes, but the soul lives on. It continues a cycle of births and rebirths until it reaches its final liberation, moksha. Let us pray that our brother Rupnarayan Satram, through his good deeds and noble acts, has advanced to the stage of liberation. Rest in peace, my brother, and thank you all for being here this morning with us. Pandit, I hand it over to you.
Thank you very much. Namaste, everyone. Sairam, and good afternoon. Let us all pray. Om Namaste Satete Jagat Karanaya Namaste Chite Sarvaloka Shrayaya Namo Dvaita Tattvaya Mukti Pradaya Namo Brahmane Vyapine Shashvataya Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhus Cha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. As I join with the bereaved and the family and all of you to say farewell and do the Anteshti Sanskar for his distinguished individual, Pitaji, the late Satram. I want to say thanks to Pandit Vidyarthi for doing the purification prayer earlier. He's from Toronto, Canada. He's more senior to me. I bow to him. The Bhagavad Gita says that death is not a calamity. It is an infant spiritual opportunity that path that leads us to oneness with the Supreme Lord. Upanishad also mentioned that death is like when we go to sleep. The difference is that when we go to sleep and we wake up in the same body. At death, the soul leaves this stool sharir, this gross body, and and moves on into another body based on the law of karma. Death actually gives the soul that opportunity to stop, re-energize, and continue the journey to reach closer to our Supreme Lord, our Creator. And in the Vedas it says here, Om Suryam Chakshur Gachatu Vatam Atma Dhyamcha Gacha Prithivim Cha Dharmana Apova Gacha Yadi Tatrate Hitam Ushadeshu Pratitishra Sharir. After death, O man, let the sight of your body go back to the cosmic source, the sun. Let your soul go to the atmosphere, and then go either to heaven to live in emancipation, or to earth to be reborn as determined by the law of karma, or it is ordained, let your soul go to the waters or the tree to assume another body. And also the final mantra at the Antyeshti Sanskar, when we go to the cremation site, it says, Om Vayur Anilam Amitam Atedam Basmantam Shiriram Om Krato Smara Om Kleve Smara Om Kritam Smara. O soul, you are the immortal one, but your dead body will be reduced to ashes through cremation. All the 5 elements, water, air, earth, fire, and ether will go back to its source. Think of Om for courage, and think of your deeds. Also, now this is an opportunity for us all to forgive this soul and to ask forgiveness if we would have done anything wrong, knowingly or unknowingly. Shameham sarvan ve jivan tevaksham tu yamam sada maitrishat sarvasva beteshu name dvesho sikena chit. I forgive all living beings, and may everyone be forgiven to me or to us. May we be friends to all creatures, and may no one hate. I will sing this bhajan, Prano Samana Pyara, and close. This bhajan is for family, and it says that let our family live close together. Let the family live close together, and let all the cardinal points of this universe, let the family be at peace and harmony and togetherness from here on. After finishing this, Pandit Vidyarthi will do the closing, and while we do the viewing, while the viewing is going on, some kirtan can continue the singing. Prano saman pyara kul ho sada hamara. Prano saman pyara kul ho sada hamara. Prano saman pyara manav samaj sara प्यारा बने हमारा मानव समाज सारा प्यारा बने हमारा बंधन कता न आड़ा कुल हो सदा हमारा प्राणो समान प्यार हम सब सपूत तेरे तू है सदा आधारा हम सब सपूत तेरे तू है सदा आधारा संपर्क प्रेम होए कलहादि का मिटारा प्राणो समान प्यारा जगरंग मंच यहाँ है नित खेल काल खाड़ा जगरंग मंच यहाँ है नित खेल काल खाड़ा रविचंद
लोभादिशत्रु हैं या अंतःकरण उजाड़ा लोभादिशत्रु हैं या अंतःकरण उजाड़ा मंदिर पधार देवा तू ही यहाँ हमारा प्राणों समान चहुओर शांति में हो विपदा लखे किनारा चहुओर शांति में हो विपदा लखे किनारा इन भक्ति देसा कुल भक्ति हो सहारा प्राणों समान प्यारा प्राणों समान प्यारा.
Thank you, Panditji. Sat was a master at building relationships. And as the old adage says that a brother may not always be a friend, but a friend will always be a brother. Sat was and will always be a friend, hence a brother to all of us. The scripture tells us rather that there are three aspects to the next journey: the lifespan, the life experiences. In fact, it says in Sanskrit, Sati mule tad vipako jati ayur bhog. May I ask you to kindly stand? And for those of you who may not have had the opportunity to say something, may I ask you to repeat after me? The lifespan and the life experiences of Rupnarayan Satram have come to an end. The life form will also come to an end when the body is consigned to flames. Thank you. Please clasp and close as we pray for peace. We pray that the peace that exists naturally on earth, the peace in the sky, in the ethereal region, in the heavenly region, may that peace come to us. May the waters be soothing and may the herbs be healing. May both the plant and animal kingdom be the source of peace. May all enlightened persons bring us peace. May God's revealed wisdom, the Vedas, be the source of peace. May we become conduits for the expression of peace, and may we share that peace with others, especially those who may be troubled. Shantipat. Om Dyaho Shantirantariksham Shantih Prithvi Shanti Rapah Shanti Roshadhaya Shanti Vanaspatyaha Shantir Vishve Devah Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shantiredhi Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. प्रेम से बोलो ओमकार भगवान की जय. प्रेम से बोलो वैदिक सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय. प्रेम से बोलो रूपनारायण Satram ki jai. Namaste to each and every one of you. Just for the logistics, you may come up to view the body and meet with the family. Please, if you can make a line and so that we don't have a congestion in front. Whilst that's happening, the Kirtan Mandali will do the bhajans. Thank you again. Namaste. whenever they can make it around.
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूपा प्रशांति निलया देवा
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 रामा कृष्णा साई राम देवा
राम हो कृष्ण हो साई राम देवा
रामा हो कृष्ण हो साई राम देवा
राम हो कृष्ण हो साई राम देवा
शिव शक्ति स्वरूप बाबा हे दीन पालना बाबा
शिव शक्ति स्वरूप बाबा हे दीन पालना बाबा
हे पूर्णवतारा बाबा हे प्रशांति निलया देवा
अवतारा
अल्लाह मौला हो साई राम देवा
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 सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूप प्रशांति निलया देवा
सत्य धर्म शांति प्रेम स्वरूप प्रशांति निलया देवा
राम हो कृष्ण हो साई राम देवा
राम हो कृष्ण हो साई राम देवा
शिव शक्ति स्वरूप बाबा हे दीन पालना बाबा
शिव शक्ति स्वरूप बाबा हे दीन पालना बाबा
हे प्रशांति निलया देवा हे पूर्णवतारा बाबा
हे प्रशांति निलया देवा हे पूर्णवतारा बाबा
अल्लाह मौला हो साई राम शांति निलया देवा
तेरा नाम एक सहारा, तेरा नाम एक सहारा। राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा,
राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा,
राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा,
राम रहीम को भजने वाले तेरे पुजारी बाबा।
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
ओ तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा।
ओ साई राम एक सहारा,
साई राम एक सहारा,
ओ साई राम एक सहारा,
साई राम एक सहारा।
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा।
तुम्ही हो गीता, तुम्ही रामायण, तुम्ही हो वीर पुराण,
तुम्ही हो गीता, तुम्ही रामायण, तुम्ही हो वेद पुराण,
तुम्ही हो गीता, तुम्ही रामायण, तुम्ही हो वीर पुराण,
तुम्ही हो गीता, तुम्ही रामायण, तुम्ही हो वेद पुराण।
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
ओ साई राम एक सहारा,
साई राम एक सहारा।
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा।
सत्य धर्म की ज्योति जलाई आहे पढ़ते बिहारी,
सत्य धर्म की ज्योति जगाने आई परति बिहारी।
ओ देखो आहे कुंज बिहारी,
ओ देखो आई कुंज बिहारी।
सत्य धर्म की ज्योति जलाए आए पढ़ते बिहारी,
सत्य धर्म की ज्योति जगाने आई परति बिहारी।
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
ओ साई राम एक सहारा,
साई राम एक सहारा।
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
ओ तेरा नाम एक सहारा,
एक सहारा।
केशवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना
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 नेत्रकमलधर अतिरमणोहर
नेत्रकमलधर अतिरमणोहर
नेत्रकमलधर अतिरमणोहर
नेत्रकमलधर अतिरमणोहर
अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर
अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर
अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर
अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर
माया मानुष वेश्वलीलाधर
मानुष वेशविलाधर
माया मानुष वेश्वलीलाधर
मानुष वेशविलाधर
माया मानुष वेश्वलीलाधर
माय मानुष वेशविलाधर
माया मानुष वेश्वलीलाधर
माया मानुष वेशविलाधर
जय देवा मधुसूदना
जय देवा मधुसूदना
जय देवा मधुसूदना
जय देवा मधुसूदना
केशवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना
केशवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना
नेत्रकमलधर अतिरमणोहर
कमलधर अतीव मनोहर
अंतर्यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर
यामी प्रभु परमेश्वर
माया मानुष वेश्वलीलाधर
माया मानुष वैष्णविनाधर
माया मानुष वेश्वलीलाधर
माया मानुष वैष्णविनाधर
जय देवा मधुसूदना
जय देवा मधुसूदना
ओ जय देवा मधुसूदना
ओ जय देवा मधुसूदना
केशवा माधवा जय देवा मधुसूदना
मुरली मधुरा साई मुरली मधुरा कृष्ण
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 मधुरा साई मुरली मधुरा कृष्ण
मुरली 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 मधुरा साई मुरली मधुरा कृष्ण
गोवर्धन धर मुरली मनोहर
गोवर्धन धर मुरली मनोहर
गोवर्धन धर मुरली मनोहर
गोवर्धन धर मुरली मनोहर
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण
माधवा कृष्ण कृष्ण केशवा 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 कृष्ण
नंद नंदना 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 कृष्ण
मुरली मधुरा साई मुरली मधुरा 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 कृष्ण
गोवर्धन दर मुरली मनोहर
गोवर्धन धर मुरली मनोहर
गोवर्धन दर मुरली मनोहर
गोवर्धन धर मुरली मनोहर
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण
माधवा कृष्ण कृष्ण केशवा कृष्ण
माधवा कृष्ण कृष्ण केशवा कृष्ण
नंद नंदना कृष्ण
नंद नंदना कृष्ण